Okay, welcome back YouTube. Today we're going to go over the OWASP ZAP framework. Before we go over, I'd like to explain what OWASP ZAP is. OWASP ZAP, or short for Z-Attack Proxy, it's actually an open source web application security scanner, and it's intended for anybody who's interested in this field of security and web application analysis. It's actually one of the most active OWASP projects out there right now, given flagship status. It can be used for both Windows and Linux, but it works the same way. It's a GUI meant for an easy user interface for people who want to get into this sort of field. But we've already gone over web application stuff before. We've already gone over mirroring websites, I guess you could say. So yeah, let's get started. One thing before we get started though is that I always like to go over that you can install it from here if you don't already have it on your distribution on Kali. Here's the Windows installer and the Linux packages and everything like that. Most likely you're going to want to get this for your Linux one and this for Windows because everyone uses 64-bit now. So yeah. But usually the application's always up in Web Application Analysis in Kali, or the new Kali distribution. So you just click that and it should open. Like that. When you open it, it's going to greet you with this. Usually I just click this if you're just experimenting with everything. So you click Start. And so the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start it. Usually I go to webscantest.com because, well, that's what we used in our mirroring websites video. And you click that, click Attack, and it's going to start spidering the URL to get a bunch of GET requests from the server and some POST requests. Then it's going to start moving to the active scan and scan for vulnerabilities. It says the progress is 0% right now, so it's going to take like an hour to do everything. But if you'll go over to the alerts section, you can find a whole bunch of things, such as X-frame applications like medium scale alerts, and like clickjacking and vulnerabilities and stuff like that. Password vulnerabilities, like you can see right here that this has a password vulnerability if you're using a password stealer or something like that. If you go down here, you can find cross-site scripting vulnerabilities and stuff like that. The web browser XSS protection or cross-site scripting protection is not enabled right here. So that has a lot of vulnerabilities right there. And so yeah. So if you want to route traffic through the OWASP ZAP framework, you need to create a proxy listener. Now, usually you can just route traffic anytime, but what I'm trying to say is that if you want to web spider while you're viewing certain contents on a website and like hijack cookies from somebody, then you would need to create a proxy listener. And the unconventional way of creating a proxy listener is going to the Firefox, and everyone knows that, or people who have messed with web app analysis before, is that if you go to like Burp Suite, if you go to Preferences, and then you, like, I don't know, type in network, like the network configuration, and then you go to Settings, you can create a manual proxy configuration here by typing in 127.0.0.1 and putting it on port 8080, because usually whenever you start off OWASP ZAP, it'll say it's not running on port 8080. This is because you need to create the proxy listener and then use it for all protocols by check marking it right here. However, this doesn't work very well because if you went to something like Facebook.com, you couldn't just look around, or if you went to GitHub, the connection wouldn't be secure because of HSTS, and the HTTPS protocol standards nowadays have it to where it won't allow a proxy listener. So this does not work. A better way of doing it is going to Quick Start and then going to the browser you use. Most of the time we're using Firefox if we're using Kali Linux. And then we click Launch Browser. And once we go through, right here it says Explore with OWASP, and it'll say it's configured to a proxy and ignore certificate warnings like CA certificates. What we need to do is go through a verification. So if we go to something like, I don't know, ExploitDB or something like that, the traffic will be registered right here, see ExploitDB, and all the cookies and contents. This is the better way to do the proxy listener. So that's about it. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed the website series number 3.